Mr. Antoine, tell me why this market crash is bullshit and no one needs to worry.
That's an interesting question. And to be transparent, I don't think I have the competencies to know what's going to happen on the macro level. I think we are, anyways, in a market that moves a lot in the short term, depending of the crowd behavior and the tweets of Trump. I'm like, I don't know what he's gonna tweet. I can know what kind of crowd we do, but I don't know what Donald Trump's gonna do when he wakes up. So it's really, really complicated. And as you say, we don't have the data. And that's honestly not the game I play, because that's not a game where I can make a lot of money. I mean, unless I go like with like insane leverage on Bitcoin, my money is not going to be made in trading Bitcoin. And then if I go with insane leverage, then I become an easy snack for market makers and bigger traders that have better tools than me in the pubs to just eat me. So then why would I play there? I'm not, honestly, I have the skills of being prepared for that. So being spot is comfy. Like, you just buy and hold spot is comfy.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, obviously, as we continue in this conversation, I know what you're referring to. With there's a lot of money to be made, similar position as me. We'll get into that. That'll be interesting. But when we are looking at the general market right now, because the rest of the market tends to follow Bitcoin, what are we looking at from an on-chain perspective? I was looking a few days ago. I'm not sure if it's changed. It seemed that for a little while for this year, there was a rotation of who was holding the Bitcoin. It seemed a lot of old long-term holders were finally moving out, and it was being collected by a lot of new hands. But over the last maybe week or two, that's kind of stopped. The flows have reduced. The long-term holders are selling. New participants aren't really buying. So what are we looking at from that, from a long-term holder perspective right now?
That's so true. I mean, I think like there's so many things, if we talk only about Bitcoin, that changed with the ETF and so on, where it is radical change in the market. Before, you have to understand that most of the people were holding their Bitcoin on like some hardware wallet or their laptop, and it was pretty easy to track and see what was going on. And then now that Bitcoin held like higher and higher ceiling, then we started to see, okay, like for example, MicroStrategy, they own a fair share of Bitcoin. Then those ETFs own more and more of those Bitcoins. Then centralized exchange own a part of it, and then it becomes harder and harder to trace who is holding it. But I would say though that we can check on. I think one of the best tools so far to see what's happening on Bitcoin is Glassnode, and the NUPL, so that net unrealized profit or loss, we're still like pretty low. So there is like a lot of people are around capitulation now, and then we're gonna hope and fear. But like on the short term, like it's not that easy. Like, oh, everyone who bought Bitcoin is in huge profit. It's not the case. So then long-term holder net change, that's a good one to check as well. We see, even you see that long-term holder here, they were selling, but the graph was going up. So it's like, I don't know. And then it's like, but they were buying also when it was down. So it's like, and now they're selling. So maybe is it going to go up? I can't be sure honestly anymore, because those data, the more we move forward, we're gonna have to see how, when we shift from Bitcoin being held mostly by retail to mostly by institution, I think that's going to change a bit the way we can see stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think it just comes down to supply and demand, right? So for the most part, for a while, when they were reducing their position, there was still a big demand from a lot of the ETF, the people scooping up ETFs. But what's probably happened over the last couple of weeks with the lack of clarity for the market, and the buyers, there's less of a market. So even the long-term holders are selling, it makes sense, they've done it for a while, that demand just isn't there to be scooping up, because a lot of the big players who are basing their moves off macro, they don't have the comfort that they typically do, or they have had for the last couple of months in the market. So it is interesting to see that kind of
I agree.
relationship between the on-chain and the macro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. I think like there's other elements that plays into is the uncertainty created in the world with AI, where capital preservation becomes a leading thing. And then we saw like gold like went like crazy, and no one kind of like thought that gold is going to be able to outperform Bitcoin. Well, now it's on the way down as well, gold, obviously, because like people were queuing up to buy it. But then it's like, okay, Bitcoin used to be this cool thing on the internet in 2021, and then before that even more. Like that was like, that's why we were going in. It was like blockchain is fucking cool. Now AI is way cooler than blockchain for most people. For most people, right? But I think at the moment where we see the shift, if we're going to see the shift where the workforce become
Yeah.
more and more useless, then they're going to think about like, I need to preserve actually my resources. And then now everything priced in fiat is just going to skyrocket. Well, I should think about that thing that is called Bitcoin, maybe, because there's like so many scenarios where you can see Bitcoin winning, but don't ask a Bitcoiner about that, right? Because I'm gonna be biased and see Bitcoin winning in so many different scenarios.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have the same overarching view of the market. I think with AI, there's the actual practical effects of what that buzzword has done and what it's doing to the world. I do think, yes, absolutely, there's going to be a lot of displacement when it comes to jobs. But I do think there's going to be a lot of new job creation. I think as regulation increases around AI, although they'll hinder innovation, they have to do something to slow the pace down a little bit, as it is moving a little bit like the Wild West. But it almost relates to the stock market in a sense, as when you're looking at the stock market, a lot of companies are using the buzzword AI or machine learning, etc. But there's not really much outside of the main companies going on. When you do look at like the S&P, and we can look at like the Mag 7, right? The big companies, Apple, Microsoft, etc. These guys really are at the forefront. But it's almost like there's a huge bubble in the stock market,
Yeah,
right? People have been programmed, even me, right? I've told people DCA, DCA, DCA. People have been programmed to just DCA every
yeah,
month, regardless of the actual market. And in some senses, that's good. But now I've probably never seen the stock market more overvalued in my life. Maybe, you know, the 5 to 10 top companies, maybe they are their true net worth. I don't think so. But yeah, I
yeah.
think AI is
I
the
have
buzzword
this
itself.
problem. I'm supposed to DCA and I'm not DCAing in the stock market at least. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm DCAing in Zcash. This has been doing good to me, but um, I mean, I think it's just we don't know enough of what AI can do, like how it's going to change the workforce. The only example I have in mind is when all the machinery arrived and took all the jobs from the farm and a lot of the manual job, and we saw that, oh, we're going to be not needing to work anymore. It's going to be amazing. And then we created bullshit jobs. So it's like,
Yeah, a lot of 9 to 5 rat race chasers who will be replaced by AI. The Industrial Revolution 2.0, I agree. I think there's a book
yeah.
called The Coming Wave by
But
a
yeah,
guy
but
called
after
Mustafa.
the industrial revolution, we had more jobs than before it. So I don't know
It's
how.
innovation. It's innovation. It's only
Yeah,
natural. I think I understand there's a lot of fear and fear mongering, but I think it's like teething pains. I think there's a book called The Coming Wave by a guy called Mustafa Suleiman, and this guy basically says, look, the AI wave is inevitable. It's up to you whether you choose to ride it or you
yeah,
know choose to run away from it. It doesn't. There's nothing to do. I personally believe it's a huge net positive, but yeah, I think that's overall we have a similar view with macro. What are some of the other key metrics slash indicators, if we want to use that term, although they've been damaged over time, such as long-term hold account and ETF flows. Antoine, that you would say, hey, for someone who is looking at Bitcoin, maybe not to make money, but because they believe that's a signal for the rest of the market, what are the other maybe 2 or 3 things you would recommend someone say, look, just keep an eye on that. Don't necessarily watch it day to day. The long-term hold account is interesting. You know, ETF flows is interesting. Are there any others from a Bitcoin perspective you'd look at?
No, I don't know. I don't look at those anymore. I honestly think it's a losing game. I haven't met any small retail trader, including myself, being able to time perfectly top and bottom of Bitcoin all the time. And then again, I think the risk reward ratio is just not there. So I would say don't bother.
But do you understand what I'm saying in the sense of it's not that, hey, like I'm not going to make a 10x off Bitcoin, but
Yeah.
if from as history tells us, if Bitcoin moves, Ethereum and Solana will follow. Hype will follow. The memes will follow. The narratives will follow. So of course you have anomalies like a Zcash, you know, it's going crazy right now.
Yeah.
But I think
Spend time on spotting anomalies.
but I think to spot anomalies, that's I think even harder, to be honest with you. I think spotting anomalies, maybe you can prove me wrong, but I think following the rotation
It
game,
is
which
harder,
typically
but it's not
starts.
so hard. It is harder, but it's not that hard. It's actually changing your frame. It's like understanding that every market is completely new. Like everyone who's been waiting for an alt season or that's been waiting for like gaming coin has been completely wrong. This so far at the moment of this cycle, right? And when you think about it, like it's like there's only a few coins that did pretty well. Yes, hype. In a way, we could say pump. At least there was some stuff that you could catch, and then if you invested pre ICO and stuff, and then pump is still high compared to the others. But yeah, hype, Zcash, and then in a way pump in a lesser way so far for now. I would say that's the one that mostly had something different in the market. Okay, so and then there was also the run of BNB that I didn't catch. So it's like those anomalies come from not looking where everyone looks. And then when you're a retail trader, you should try to look where not everyone looks because that's your only edge. You are like a single atom that is free to roam where you want. So like on Bitcoin again, like of course, like you can buy in spot and forget about it. Now, if you need to comfort yourself with the data, you can, but again, your mindset and your vision should be I'm in this for 4 years or 5 years, and I do not care about like what's gonna happen on the short term because I make X per month and then I allocate Y to Bitcoin every month and then the rest to other stuff. I think it would be more impactful if people spend more time in literature and like understanding economics and why uh, they like Bitcoin and why they invest in it than trying to spot those micro trend and trying to ride them. Then of course I agree. Then when the market start to pop, the rest gonna pop. So it's like it is like yes, it is usually Bitcoin and then the rest. So for example, an easy one is like when Ethereum is struggling, almost all the altcoins will go down after, and then those altcoins are usually even worse now because we didn't have a proper alt season because everyone expects the same thing to happen every time, right? But the market is gonna rug you. Is gonna put something else. So last bull market, we had a little bit of both. We had the DeFi summer and a lot of NFT. No, I was dumb enough to on too smart or dumb enough, I don't know, but one or the other to not ride the NFT wave at all. And that's a lot of probably profit I could have made if I was really early on that. So all the people that, for example, ride the meme season early, the meme coins, they did well. They did well. Now, did they keep their capital? I don't know. That depends. There was a lot of young people in it, so that of course a lot harder to keep your capital when you're younger because the way you're going to manage risk and then being in your first bull market. And then Hyperliquid, for example, it was like if you talk outside, if you see like what the big traders on the timeline are using at that time, you would be like, yeah, that makes sense. And then you see how much they were making, because those data were public, how much they were making. Like now, I think like so far they made $1.2 billion in fees.
It's insane. They killed it.
It is. It is. So it's like, it is hard to spot anomalies. I don't know. But like Zcash, like Naval Ravikant was talking about it. Mud was talking about it. And then you see a lot of privacy things going on, like the Signal app. Even Elon Musk talks about it. Telegram, even there's a lot of conversation about it. So it's like finally privacy coins are in the conversation. And then you have a coin that pops. Of course, it is more challenging to spot anomalies because the media is made in a way that people only wants to hear about what is hot and what they all heard about. So that's the terrible thing. I do YouTube and then I know. It's like I know that my YouTube videos will make more views if I get to talk about gold when the gold is at all-time high. If I talk that Bitcoin is dead when it's at all-time low. Well, it's like I have to switch them in the video to make them understand that it's going to be different. But it's like changing that behavior is probably one of the most important thing, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's a very fair point, and I think regardless of general market conditions, there will always be opportunity, especially with some of these altcoins. And I understand what you're saying. I think maybe when general market conditions look healthy, when things are running and they're at all-time highs, it just brings more participants and maybe an increase in opportunities and anomalies. But yeah, absolutely, there will always be big ups regardless of condition. Even now with Zcash, with BNB, as we saw, I do think we're at an interesting point as when you look at something like Hyperliquid, which is so solid of a product, and they've done a good job, and they've tried to do pretty much everything right, still down like 40, 50%. It cannot escape the rest of the market. And I think that's where growing up, reading people like Warren Buffett, talking about value investing, it's dead everywhere. It doesn't exist anymore. Not in crypto, but not in the stock market either.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. Like value investing is not a thing in a way. Like now it's attention investing.
Yeah. And I guess, you know what, Antoine, this is a good segue. So for those who don't know, Mr. Antoine runs a company called Stalkchain. They're huge on X. They do a tremendous job. In short, they're at the forefront of what I would say maybe he characterizes himself as different. I think they're at the forefront of retail on-chain forensics. I think it's a good doorway for retail to get into on-chain. And where they probably focus is finding quick opportunities in the Memecoin space, right? You've got a couple of really cool tools on your website. Maybe we can give this to the people to get them in to test it out. But yeah, tell us a little bit more about Stalkchain and how you would characterize yourself and what you're doing for crypto.
Okay, yeah. So I'm passionate about on-chain analysis, and I think like it's still one of the most beautiful edge you can have and powerful edge you can have as a retail trader, because it's not easy accessible from like people who have Bloomberg terminal and then who pay like a version of Glassnode that you can buy because there's going to be thousands and thousands of dollars per month. So when you retail, you want to have like some information. So I think like I'm going to start off with a trade that I placed recently, like yesterday with Stalkchain. I think that's going to be the easiest thing. Sorry for the thirst trap here. Like, there we go. Here I post a tweet. I see that Marcel, and I'm going to show how I saw that signal, sold all his useless. Okay, he sold 280K. So it's like, that's a lot. And that post, okay, got like 32K views. Now, I don't know if people acted on that, but I acted on that. I shorted useless and I made 50% on it. Boom. The price like went down like crazy from 16 million to like almost 13 million. No, not million, sorry.
160,
100, yeah, 160 to 130 almost. So why did I do that? So Marcel was one of the prime leader of useless coin. Okay, that's a meme coin, because meme coins are like attention based, and then the best way to measure attention is also where the money goes. And what I did is just, I was in here, I saw the top KOL tokens, and I was like, oh, yesterday there was like useless, one of the most traded one. Okay, yes, see, exactly. The net flow was minus 500K. I was like, what a crazy capitulation we see here. And when the general of an army capitulates, I don't give a long shot to the rest of the army to be able to sustain. So I checked who did that in the KOL feed. I was like, okay, token, boom. I put this, and then I looked at it, and I see Marcel. Okay, he sold everything. And then there's another one. I was like, okay, so now the big KOL sold everything. Who is going to be holding that coin? Who's going to be left to hold? And then after, that's how it created a massive down. And then I was also seeing that the smart money was selling it every day, like 33K, 54K, 200K in a market that goes down. Like, let's not forget, guys, when the market is going down, there's plenty of opportunities. So what I did on this trade, for example, is I shorted useless, and on the other side, I longed hype, because I was like, okay, if the market starts to go back up, like Alex, hype would go up. And I think like around the $30, I think hype is cheap. I may be wrong by the time this goes out, but so far I think it is. So then shorting it was just an easy thing, because like, who's going to buy a meme coin now? Really not many people. Like,
yeah, not many
like,
at all.
yeah. So it's like shorting like the dirty of the dirtiest is just easy, and then you can edge with other position again. And then that's what I did, and I make a few $1,000. Is good. I don't trade with a lot of money on perps, because I'm not yet that experienced, and then also I'm trading as a human, and then I'm looking to automate it now, because I think that's going to be easier. So I'm checking those things. I'm like, well, okay, which coin is getting sold a lot, and then that's what I would get a lot of opportunities on this market.
You know, this is very cool, man. I've been loving the platform as I've been exploring it too. We discussed a couple of these things privately also, but I know what questions people are going to pop up.
Yeah.
How do you find a KOL? You know, what constitutes and how do you find their wallet? Very quick.
Yeah. So Stalkchain is about 1 year old now. And when we first started, KOLs, I was finding them myself. We had a team of researchers. We were finding their wallets. Now it changed a lot. A lot of the KOLs will happily give you their wallets, because they know that people are going to look at their trading. And then again, we are in an attention economy. So it is like that. Like, why people invest in a stock or they invest in whatever crypto is because they heard about it somewhere, and then they hear about it either from an influencer, from scrolling, from whatever it is. That's what we measure. So two things is people who have a lot of attention, and then second thing, people who move the market with their money, because attention, number of followers is important, but also what they actually do on the chart and then in the order book is even more important.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I believe last time we spoke, you pulled up on screen one of the clever ways you were finding wallets is when KOLs would tweet their successful trades. You could go in and you can find the size of the order. You can go on chain, and then looking at P&L cards. That's very cheeky.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite tools I built. Is so we had like we have everything like partial wallets. So like if someone shows a bit of their wallets, the beginning at the end, we can know if like what they bought and when. We know with the P&L card, like we can find everything. That's why I love on chain, because if you trade forex, if you trade perps or whatever, I can't know when you're lying or not. But if with this, I can know all the time. And then that happened a lot as well on perps. People that used to lie every time about their trades started to post some pictures of their trades on Hyperliquid, and a lot of them were like completely fake, and we realized like, oh, they're trading with $10. So there's like they show you like, oh, I'm up 500%. Yeah, but you took a $10 trade, or actually you lost a lot of money. So it's tons of funny thing that happened. Like even Andrew Tate, like he lost like hundreds of hundreds. So it's like, and that's the beauty of on-chain analysis. It's like whatever people say, I know like, okay, this guy bought 200K of that coin, and I can look what kind of wallet we have. Well, that's someone that is not trading. That's what I want to know. That's the wallet I want to be in with. Like he has 0.10 Solana, but bought 200K of Drift. Like, why is he buying so much Drift? Is there something going on? Did he hear about something? Well, we have it 2 days in a row. Like yesterday, 112K. Today, we're so far at 60K. That's a coin I will
it's
study.
interesting. Yeah,
And now
absolutely.
Drift, I know it's a perp dex on Solana. So I don't need to be the smartest guy to see that, okay, we have a chart that went quite down. I would personally no investment advice or whatever financial advice, but out of all the coins, that's probably going to be a better play than most of the others.
Yeah, and is the number one thing you're looking at is, okay, smart money inflows versus outflows. So when we looked at Houston, smart
Yes.
money selling, Drift, smart
Yeah.
money's buying,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
But that's the same. Like if I want to know what's running, I will check like the top KOL, what they've been buying and selling the last 24 hours to see, okay, like for example, I have some Pay AI in my wallet, and I'm like, now there's only 3 KOL holding it. That might be a time where I need to be extra careful. If I see some smart money selling, then I should be out. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
that beautiful.
You know, what's really interesting now, Antoine, I'll set you up for this one. So this is really cool, and I like the Stalkchain product, and I would say a couple of things, my perspective, I haven't even said this privately. I think it could be cool to have like a Stalkchain Pro for maybe someone like myself or my team, where it's almost like a middle ground between the likes of a Glassnode, and what you guys currently have. It's like that middle of the road data, because I can see you guys have all the data, you've digested it, and you've created a product very easy to consume, similar to what we've done with Cryptonary. And now we're looking to create a higher tier for a slightly more advanced guy. I think it'd be awesome to see a middle ground between what you've done here with Stalkchain and what some of these institutional grade platforms do, because it's all on chain
Yeah.
ultimately. The data's there. And with the KOLs, I'm not very trusting of KOLs. I think there's a big difference between a guy who gets doxxed and a guy who wants to shill his wallet. Ultimately, especially when it's like one of those, you've said this before, it's not really your wallet. If you're holding 10 cents of SOL and you've got 300K in a meme coin, that's a different bag to your spot bag, right? But I do
Yeah.
think it's very different when someone comes in and, they're like, hey, look at my wallet. And they've got $5 of SOL and they've got $700,000 of shitcoin. But now I know we're limited on time. Stalkfund. Stalkfund. This is another product you've built. I'm a big fan of
Yeah.
this one. And it's interesting. I would say, from my knowledge of Stalkfund, it's exactly what you said at the start of the conversation, but this is a good way to make money regardless of market conditions. It's a good way
Yeah.
to spot opportunity, spot anomalies, and especially from a trading perspective. So I'll let you dive in and talk some Stalkfund.
Yeah. I just checked like there was a 5x code right here. So the problem in meme coins, first to understand why a stock fund can be interesting, is that 10,000 coins at least get created every day. And then to analyze them, you need to be looking at like all that and then go into each coin, then go into like all the holders, checking the volume, having filters to change all the time. But like because those data are all available on chain, why not having an algorithm that's going to be way faster and better than me at checking all that? And this is where we build Stalkfund. So Meme Radar is an algorithm. It's a more aggressive algorithm than PrinceScan. PrinceScan is like check like more than 20 or 5 elements, and it's gonna use AI to be able to spot the best coins. So it's gonna analyze it way faster than anything else. let me check, like on the few ones. So yeah, so it called this one as well. So it was called on both. So now the HEH was at this, like, what is the privacy chain? That makes me want to trade that coin, but I'm on the podcast, so I'm gonna kind of a banger logo, to be honest. Oh, there's a tweet from Mert on the that might be impactful. Anyway, let's gamble while we are on stream. So the goal is to be able to just have all the indicators in one place. So those two are algorithm, as I said. Then we have like a movers, that's the virality of a coin based on other elements on the pump farm app. Then trending is going to be the one that has the most volume, and then we have the smart pump. Now, because everything I build, I like to be like nowhere to hide, and then actually talk about
Yeah.
performance. I can show you the algorithm performance. The win rates weekly, so we had 615 coin. That means a bit less than 100 coin per day. It's not the best week in the trenches. Like, bear in mind, like, down the market is pretty low. But still, though, we had like 100 that did 2x, 58 that did 3x, and then, I mean, you can, guys, pause and read the rest, but like 3 that did 50x and 2 that did 100x. So like on all the coins that were like running, it did well. Like KitKat, people, like they all did well. And that, I think that's why it's really powerful, because you can have this even on mobile. It works perfectly. I could show on phone, but it's like, it's super easy to use, and that makes trading more accessible, and where you just need to be, it's human assisted, basically. The algorithm spot the coins for you, and then you can see if you want to go in the coin or not. I mean, I have it here on mobile. I have my screen in black and white to avoid me to spend too much time on the screen. But that's how it is. So I have the notification as well. I hear a little plop. So for me, it's pretty easy to use that when I'm working or something like that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to check that, see what is it about. I can click on the website, trade and buy and sell directly from the website. Like, you can do all that. So that was our goal, like, to simplify trading and make it fun again.
Antoine, is there like a built-in rug checker to
yeah, I mean, it is
make sure?
automatically. It is automatically. Now, if you check Meme Radar is going to have some of the rugs. So like, I made $20 just right now. I invested only 77, like it was 0.5 so and I was like, I just went into one coin. Now, I don't win all the time, I don't win every day, but I've been like really consistent. I mean, with this, during the bear market, like a few months ago, I did a challenge with $100. I ran it up to 100K, and I trade only 2 hours per day. So I missed some plays. And then again, that was way back then, though. I did like $20 to 22K in just 1 week. And that's because I have that. But I'm not in part of like some private group or whatever. I just use that for trading. And that's been helping me. So the rug checker, like Meme Radar, is going to have a way lower amount of rug than on PrinceScan, sorry, way lower amount of rug than Meme Radar. But like, if you see like Meme Radar is like, okay, 3 coins got created, there's something happening around this, and then we checked, and then it was Mert, which is one of the most influential people in Solana, commenting on the tweet. So that made me easy to be able to get into a coin. Now, if you check the last coins that were called on the PrinceCat, like one rugged, this one didn't work. It went to 1.8. This one, those two rugged, like they didn't even. I mean, this one did 2x, so you had time to take profit. You should like take some initial. Went to 63, so that's gonna avoid you a lot of the rugs. Like again, like this one, Lemon Brothers. Yeah.
I have a question, Antoine. So when I'm looking at this, and the thing that sticks out to me is a lot of these market caps are super low. So there's a way to come in, like you mentioned, the $20 there. It's good, and these things compound, especially when you're doing them in a matter of seconds. And of course, that's how you run something from $100 to 100K over a month, because you're making quick money back and forth very consistently with the win rate. But if I come into this token now, that's in front of me, and it's, privacy at 5K MCAP. And first off, even if it gets a 5X to 25K, me throwing in $500 on a 5K MCAP coin, it obliterates market cap. That investment itself is probably going to mush. Like a lot of people think, oh my goodness, you got $100 million market cap coin, you put in $1 million, it's 101. It's not. It's all about liquidity.
No.
Like, it's blasting the price. So
Yeah.
with this, is there a way for me to filter and deal with certain size meme coins? And then do you have a lower threshold for, like, there's no point putting $100 into a 4K MCAP token, because I'm going to put my $200 in, liquidity is piss low, it's going to push it to 6, I've made 50%, but I actually there's not enough liquidity for me to properly exit. So is there like a low ball, a threshold?
Yeah, so you should always adapt your bet to the size of the market cap, right? So that's the thing. Like, if you're gonna go like on really low market cap, don't blast 5K. If you have 5K to put in meme coins, you should probably look into Stalkchain or something like that, because that's gonna be like more on the runner on the long term. Like here, we're trading, like we're trying to catch runners. So we try to be early with a small capital. So from $20 to 1 to 2K, I would go in. Like, I mean, I can check, like, this guy put 560, that guy bought 128, 651. But then if you have 1K, let's say you put 1K, 100K or whatever, which is fine, by the way, then you 2X, now you have 2K. So, and then if the coin is good, you can just buy more as it goes up, which is not what many people would do. But then it's just like, even like if you make 5K here, like that's still gonna create a big candle. But you should not invest a 5K in those ones and in meme coins in general right now. But I mean, so far, like, you put it 500 at the beginning, you were good. You were good.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. No, I like it, man. I think this is a great product for a lot of people. What are the two different avatars? Remember, I've got a big community of people, and when I show them this podcast, they're going to be excited. They're going to want to try these things out. Who should go? If we were to give them one, if we were to be picky, if we were to say, look, you go either or, what type of guy should go and experiment with Stalkfund first, and what type of guy should go and experiment with Stalkchain first?
The people who want to feel something should go with Stalkfund. So it's like, if you have a bit of capital that you want to go like in super high risk investments, because that's where you can go. There's going to be like that's like no one else can really go there. So that's pretty good. Then Stalkfund is definitely going to be the place if you want to trade actively, because that's what happened. Like, usually people who like will watch the chart of Bitcoin and things like that, is you want to trade actively. And I did that my first cycle in Bitcoin. I was like, oh, it reached 10K. Now I need to sell. And I was like, fuck, it's at 12 now. I need to buy. And I was like, oh yeah. And then after it went back then, I was like, what am I doing here? I'm not good at this. I don't know what is going on. I can't control what's going on in Bitcoin. I have no idea. So I was like, okay, I stopped trading Bitcoin in a way like that. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. And then this, if you want to trade actively, then that's good. Like, if you want to spend 1 hour, 2 hours a day on this, then it's probably good. Now, if you have more capital and you can start to do a little bit of perps, or like go 5K, 10K, or even minimum, I would say like 2K into a coin, then Stalkchain can help you. And then it's more like you can buy it and you can disconnect 6 hours from the laptop. I'm not saying you can buy and then go on the 2 months holidays and then come back and it's going to be good, but it should be fine. Like, if you do like longer term trading. So that's the two different types.
So he'll be back in a second.
I would look at
viewers.
Man, I gotta close the chart. It makes me want to trade that coin. I want to know what's going on. So I'm gonna stop sharing unless you want to see some other stuff on the Stalkfund. But yeah, you can buy and sell directly. It comes with a wallet when you create your account. It's the easiest way to start trading meme coins.
Brother, you crashed out for like 90 seconds, brother. So if you want to you said, the last thing you said is, I'm not saying you get in and you log off for 2 months. Then it cut out.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to upload, but basically it's going to upload probably. But yeah, what I was saying is that you're going to be able to do longer term trades on it. And then also it helps a lot with perps. And then after we have like all the legend section that will really guide you more into like what you should buy or sell right now, in a way.
The legend section, explain that part to me.
Yeah.
These are the biggest, the most successful people.
Yeah, legend is kind of like what you were asking about before. I think it's like more advanced tools. So you will see all the fresh wallets. So that's new wallets that do their first buy or like all the stuff. We have few metrics to distinguish a fresh wallet. Then you will have also like all the DCA and the accumulation going on patterns that is live right now. So like that's how you can catch sometime a solid play. And then I think actually if I go on the Stork HQ, they saw also a massive sell-off of useless. So it was like when you have all that here, that's in the smart money tracker, it happened already. This is what is happening right now. And then also we have like other stuff that will be like a bit complex for like liquidity pool and things like that. But like if you have the money to be in the legend, like we will spend the time to explain you how to use.
What are the price points, by the way, for Stalkchain, Stalkfund, and then legends?
We are reshuffling the stuff now, so I don't want to say a price point now. So when the podcast goes out, they still relevant, but they will be able. Stalkfund is what is it? 3 SOL per year, so that's like $50 per month. And then also, like if you trade with Stalkfund, you can get your money back. So that's like it's kind of free in a way if you use it for trading.
For sure.
And I mean, most of people make it back in less than a month. How much they bought, so it's like that. That's the.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is cool, man. Antoine, thank you so much. This is really, really, really fun. I think there's so many other subtopics we can go into, but yeah, this is good, man. This is good. I think a lot of people are going to get stuck in with on-chain now. I know we spoke last time. There isn't really an exact science to getting in, but Stalkfund and Stalkchain are probably good ways to get into on-chain.
Like on Stalkfund, we analyze the KOLs, the volume. I can't go into all the proprietary indicators, but like the bundle, the snipers. So we check as much as we can on the print scanner, and I mean, it's kind of dumb that I was doing that manually before. So it's like it's good that we managed to get that into an algorithm.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, hey, Mr. Antoine, thank you so much. We'll do more of these. I think when we share this online, maybe we can do something where you give the community a guide for getting started.
We can do a Q&A and stuff, and then kickstart. Yeah, happy to do that.
Amazing, man. Thank you so much.